Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with Sunset and Bob. See this light? This is incandescent light. This is Luciferian light. This is light of the illusion of time. Time throws a shadow. See? There's my shadow self back there. And things are always back to there, right? Or when you point into the light, there is no shadow. And the one light that doesn't throw a shadow is photonic light, right? And that is coming from the illumination of love's co-creation, right? Photonic light, we breathe it in, right? So here we are. Feel this, this is the same kind of, see, when the nuclear weapon goes off, this is all that's going to be left of you from behind is the shadow. That's the only thing that you will be turned to dust, and the only thing that will exist is the temporal shadow back there. So what shadows are amongst us now? Well, one of them today is the 1 year anniversary of the Texas Holocaust, where a young boy, as soon as he got on his 18th birthday, he went into a gun shop and bought himself an AR-15, and then basically went into his old grammar school and killed 19 little children and 2 grown-ups. And basically, a couple of days ago, a friend of mine who's a pathologist and a medical examiner, basically, and he doesn't work for any police force or any of that, which he has. He was part of the FBI. He's part of he's almost as old as dirt as I am. He worked at that first where they made protocols to identify the perps, right? To give psychological. First changes its name all the time. It used to be the Tavistock Institute, and it became like anything else, any secret that entities, state entities really are. See the shadow world behind me? It's like Plato's cave, right? And but I'm facing the light instead of watching my own shadow. Right? There's my own shadow. Like me and my shadow. Do, 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 do. Anyway, so my friend called me up and he gave me a few things to look at on the YouTube. And it was, what does an AR-15 do to the human body? So they were a number of images of, they had these dummies made out of gel, well, not gel, but a viscous material that is solid. It's kind of not wax, it's not jello, it's not blubber, it's something that is tantamount to what your body is, right? So the body mass index is referenced by this. So they make dummies out of it and they shoot it. They show, the what the bullet does inside the body. And so you can go on YouTube and see these dummies that are made out of this stuff that's a replicant of what humans are. And it basically blows the body up, right? And then he had images on YouTube, police images of shoot-ups with people with AR-15s and what it did to grown-ups. And it basically blew the people up. None of the images from a year ago today at this basically a town about 50 miles from and it was Good morning, my friend. Yeah, it is. It's a beautiful. Right? I woke up early. I've been waking up early every morning. I wake up about 3, uh, relieve myself, and then either go back to sleep or read. Right. In the last 2 weeks, I've been reading the Bible relatively, 4 or 5 hours a day, and I went from Exodus. I did Exodus and Numbers and Deuteronomy and Ecclesiastes in the last week, and I've read it 3 or 4 times. And that is part of the Old Testament where you know um, God's talking to his prophets. Moses being the number one, but there are plenty of others in there. So Joshua, so much, right? And basically, when especially like a good example is the turning of Sodom and Gomorrah into salt, right? Now, if you go by what people tell you the Bible says, it's like God is a pissed off old guy like me. I'm get off my lawn, and that's not God. God is unconditionally loving, right? And so, the bottom line was God did not turn Sodom and Gomorrah into salt. What he did was he observed the people pulling away from him, and by doing so, they put themselves at harm's risk by disconnecting themselves, right? So, the word FUCK, what does that mean? Fornicate under church and king. What does fornicate mean? Doesn't mean this. Doesn't mean that. What it means is to disconnect from God's love. And that's what happened in the Garden of Eden there, of good and evil. Right? That was the one dietary supplement that would disconnect God, Adam and Eve from God's love, right? And that was fornication right there. And when they read I mean, that's what they were talking about, right? And so, and I talked to those guys one time. I was at a show of theirs, and a friend of mine was their showrunner, and so he came into town. And he didn't want to be in the same hotel with all those guys and craziness and running around and da da da. He was tired, so he came up to my hill, not my hill, the hill, and where Johnny Boy is, and basically, hung out, right? And so when the show was, I went, back with him, and we got there around 11. We had breakfast at that hotel. I hung out by the pool. Then, first I had breakfast with the red chili peppers and the inside crew, the running inside crew, which my friend was part of. And so the California Red Hot is basically they hung out by the pool as I did, and we talked, right? Something about Californication. You know what fornication is, right? You know what FUCK, and they knew it. They knew exactly what I was talking about. So I said, "So who gave you that information?" So see this little thing. This is almost like the cloak that rabbis wear when they are dealing with the Ark Covenant. And basically, if you see images of it, it looks like they're wearing a hazmat outfit because the Ark of the Covenant was a alien piece of technology which was very dangerous and very toxic. So we are always, so you read the Old Testament, you realize that nothing's new under the sun. Everything is the same as it ever was. And what we're going through right now is very simple. So, the fall of every empire was never God's. I mean, there's all these, especially about Daniel. You read Daniel, and the first part of Daniel is a, he serves God's, loves co-creation, period. But he lives in the world, but he's not of it, as I am. I live in this world, but I am not part of it. That's why I can live like a millionaire on $400 a month, right? Because God has my back, In the last 2.5 years, God, kind of gave me the heads up that, hey, you're going to be leaving the deep green. You may still own it, you may sell it, who knows? But I have your back. Other things for you to do. What, you want to stay here another 20 years and watch the grass grow? I mean, you got everything looks great. So, so that's where it is. Me, right? So I'm here. That's why I do these shows. I'm going to serve God's love's co-creation. Not because I'm looking for. I would like some I would like some comments. I would truly like you to put something in my PayPal. Because even though I live like a millionaire on $400, sometimes I need to get my car paid, and I don't have the cash to do it. So it'll get done. I've already fixed I've already fixed the stuff that is going to kill me. But there's still more things, are wearing out, and if they wear perish, or your Sensei Bob will be on the other side, which will be okay by me, right? But I know I'm not going nowhere until so when I died last time, 2014, and I did a serious job on it, right? I was weighing almost 500 pounds, and my body just, I died a plate of spaghetti, very good spaghetti, handmade spaghetti, like that bolognese sauce was yum, yum, yum. And I had about 7 loaves of bread before with that sauce. I just kept getting more and more sauce for the bread, and I got a tiramisu to start off with, right? Tiramisu and a hot antipasto, right? So it's all relative, right? It's all what it is, It's to learn here. So I died, right? And I went to my life review. It was the third one. I died 7 times, and I've had 3 life reviews. And every time they say, "You're doing a great job. Now it's time to go back and finish up." Right. So this time I was in the basement of a Holy Redeemer school in the cafeteria, and it had that acrid smell of that green powder that they throw on top of vomit and urine in schools, and they never clean it up. They just leave the green powder there to soak it up. And and they had all these big sheet cakes everywhere, and there were balloons and party hats and signs saying "Welcome home, welcome home." And so my masters walked in, the dudes, boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, like Moby, walking in, counting 9mm in their pants, and they came up and they put their arms like, "You're doing a great job, kid. You're honoring us and love's co-creation. Keep it up." When they said keep it up, I said, wait a minute. Aren't I home? Isn't it? Can I rest? I said, "Oh, you can rest, sure. You can stay in this cafeteria for the next millennia, but you will be reincarnated in the wheel of karma, and God knows where you'll pop out. Right now, you're in a great position. You're doing great. You got 11% to finish off. So you can. You're the decider. Hang out here and rest in the smelly cafeteria and only have sheet cake. It's like the prana coming from the sky. When the Hebrews were out in the desert for 40 years and they only could be fed from the stuff that fell from the sky, that was the sheet cake. That's what they were eating, sheet cake. Sheet cake. And non-leavened sheet cake. And because God didn't like leavened bread because it gave it, the bread would rise and would leave a space for the devil to hide in. So anyway, I was given that choice, and I said, okay. You know, I've already done this before, so why not one more time? And you know, one of my masters, Madame Olga Coover, um, she said, "Well, remember in Ireland when that lady read your tea leaves? She said, you know, you were going to have, you know, 11 lives. You know, I say 11%. So I've gone through 7. So or I said 9. It's either 9 or 11. And so I got a few more left. And so, but every time I die and I come back, life is more physically painful because pain is the tool that keeps us in line, keeps us kind of going, okay. Like every morning I wake up, I was like, and then I have to go. Conscious intent I am, 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 conscious awareness 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 I am. See, I'm like the yin yang symbol right here, right? Light and dark. So, how about some thumbs up? Come on, hey, give me a thumbs up. Right? Let's see what time it is. Yeah, we got. Yeah, we'll do some more. So, a year ago today, like right about this time, a young man going into his grammar school. He was 18 years old. He had an AR-15 that he legally bought, and he went in and he started shooting the place up. Right? And I used to train police, and in a situation like this, you're trained to go in immediately. But the cops showed up within 3 minutes, and basically they were told that the guy has an AR-15, which means whatever flimsy body armor they have, these bullets are going to go, and the ballistic power of an AR-15 blows right through ballistic armor that police have, and basically explodes your body parts. You know, cuts you in half. You know, if you get hit right here in your sternum, it blows your head off. Right? And this guy was, you know, target practicing with 4th graders, right? And so they waited 77 minutes. More and more cops showed up. There were over 100 cops there. And they were all too scared to go in. And parents showed up and found out what was going on. And they were going to go in, and the cops put them on the ground and zip tied their hands because they didn't want to be shown up by outraged parents. So, and the parents are fighting to get those photos released because they want to show the world what their children look like. And they had a court order that when they did get the bodies, that they could not show post-mortem of what their children look like to the outside world. And it's still in effect. So, and that's just one. You know, you look at what's the war that's going on in Africa, and it's another scam-demic, you know, in that the two, you know, the army that has tanks and airplanes is going up against the rapid dispersion force. And those were the same guys. The two generals were buddies. And what they're doing, they decided the country was moving towards democracy, and they knew that they were going to be short-shifted. And so they started this war, which will last forever. I'm telling you, this war, the powers that be will not end that war, period. and it'll get bigger and bigger and be a cancer on Africa and the Middle East and Europe too, because this place is right at the head. It's located in a place that is strategically important. And basically, what's going to happen in Ukraine is this war's going to go on. Ukrainians are going to do stuff inside of Russia, because they're going to support the people who are pissed off about Russia, and the Russians who are pissed off about Russia, and so more oil lines, more factories, more warehouses, more. They won't touch the people. Like Russia is going after the population of Ukraine, right? And the Ukrainian, the NATO and the West are happy to fight this war to the last Ukrainian, right? And more than 7 million Ukrainians have left the building, and about 200,000 Ukrainians, mostly women and children, have been taken into Russia, not because they wanted to go, right? Because Russia's having a problem having children. But if you don't have another generation that you can put on the field, what do? You go steal something. So all this is happening to continue that war in Ukraine and Russia, right? Until everything is just stuff there. And I would say a number of things that I'm seeing are going to happen is one, the United States will default on its debt within the next 8 days. And everything's fine. No problem. It's just like in 08. George E. Porgy said, our economy is the strongest it's ever had been. Really? So it's going to be interesting to watch. And how it's going to occur. So when that occurs, it's nothing, no big deal. All you have to do is look at what happened to Greece and Iceland, right? Greece and Iceland. Greece was like one of the poor countries in the EU. But EU is such a large economy that the EU kept paying their bills. And basically, the Greeks are like black people, poor. Voting Act of 1965, black folk were stuck in Jim Crow, right? And so they basically had the 7th largest economy in the world because they were segregated. They were forced to be together. So black folk spent black money in black businesses, right? The first woman to ever be a millionaire in the United States was a black woman. She started a black woman's cosmetic and medical medicines for women that the white corporations never did. They just gave them talcum powder with asbestos in it, right? And so all you have to do is look at the Nazis, right, and read Mein Kampf 1 and 2, right, and Nazis with had more people than the Proud Boys, but not many, and more. And probably the amount of Oath Keepers and Proud Boys that are in America is about what National Socialist Party had, and they had their putsch in Germany, right? And that was put down very nicely. And the usual suspects, Adolf and the gang, were put in, a prison. Very nice. It was like a hotel. Right? They had room service, the whole thing. And that's where basically Adolf, he didn't write Mein Kampf, it was given to him, but he kind of copied it and changed a little here and there. And, basically went on a happy way of taking over the world. And so read Mein Kampf, and it basically says if you're going to take over a country, you obliterate it, you extinguish it, you do what we did to Iraq. You do what we did to Syria. You do what we did to Libya, right? And the other, Arab Spring countries like Egypt and Sudan and others, because we killed their culture, right? And The best example of that is Syria, because Syria had such a diverse culture. So people going in and out of. See why people call me Al? It's my eyes. See how they're deep set. See how this little. So I have owl eyes. That's what Grandfather David said. We call you Al because of your eyes. Right? You're blind, but you can see further than anyone else. Right? You can see into the future and what happened in the past. So that's me. That's what's been. That's what's going on. Um, so we're going to get CDBC, centralized digital banking currency, in your face. Your face will be your credit card. You're not getting a tattoo. You're not taking the number. Your face is the number, right? You walk in the door, there won't be anybody there, right? And it'll be like one of those circular doors. All stores will have these circular doors. And if you walk in that thing and the camera sees your face and you are not liked, you'll be locked into that door. And then another door that is circular. There'll be like 6 circular doors to get into a store, right? And you won't be able to get out, right? And then the floor will pop down and this will be sucked, never to be seen again, right? And then that door will open up and people go in, and if the algorithm likes you, you go in, you pick up what you want, a couple eggs, cream cheese, Band-Aids, toothpaste, toilet paper, and you'll have a little bag that'll be given to you. And could I have a little coffee? Let's see if this girl brings some coffee if she walks away without giving me. Coffee, please.
You want to move it? I don't want to spill it on your phone.
On my body.
No, on your phone.
Okay, here you go. Okay, thank you, dear. Anyway, so not Russia. So Germany was the most diplomatic, democratic, multicultural country in Europe between 19 and the National Social Party was the fringe, just like the communists were fringe, socialists were fringe, and other entities were fringe politics, right? And so they first tried to take it by coup, like January 6th, and that didn't work. And so, they went, very comfortably into the background for a few years, and when it came back, at all, things were in a disrupted state. It was the end of World War I. They just had an armistice, meaning stopped by World War I and World War II, same war, right? And so, what France and England and America did to Germany was to cut your nuts off, right? And then they went in it right then, right? But they still kept doing this. They still kept basically keeping the lights on, right? And that's what will be happening to us when we default on our debt. Because our economy is so integrated to the rest of the world, from the globalization. And China will be destroyed by our not being able to pay our bills, right? Not just pay our bills, but extend our credit, right? And so, because all the money that we've ever given to China has been our treasury notes, and when we default on our debt, that's our treasury notes, they will be worthless. And virtually every other country has used the dollar as the petrodollar, right? So that's why we will have a globalized CDBC, centralized digital banking currency. And India already has it. Estonia already has it. countries like Sweden, Iceland, and a few others kind of have it, but not all the way. And China definitely has it, and it uses it to control its people. I mean, they do have that revolving door that they don't like to. They hit the button and you get stuck, and then the trap door opens and you're gone, right? So that's what we're looking forward to in America in the next 8 days. You know? So enjoy it from now. Right? And I'm living like a millionaire right now on $32. So anyway, what can I say? I think that's it. Oh, so nobody. Great morning. No, Jay Z. Great morning, my friend. Okay. Any other comments about what I've just said? Let's see what else. So the internet's going to go down too, because I've been talking about the Great Splat for the last 3 years, easy. And most of our infrastructure is already in tatters, right? And so we're half of all America is all too bad hungry and don't really have a world. This is the tool man. Oh, okay. Oh, tool man. Let me give you a buzz.
This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Mimi Goodman with Juan Gonzalez. Saturday will be the 100th birthday of Henry Kissinger. He served as National Security Advisor and Secretary of State in the Nixon and Ford administrations. Today we look at Kissinger's ongoing influence on the national security state as the United States engages in declared and undeclared wars around the world. Human rights advocates consider Kissinger a war criminal who has escaped accountability. We begin with a damning new investigation by The Intercept on the secret U.S. bombing of Cambodia that killed as many as 150,000 civilians that Kissinger authorized during the U.S. war in Vietnam. Reporter Nick Turse has revealed unreported mass killings after examining formerly classified U.S. military documents and traveling to 12 remote Cambodian villages to interview more than 75 witnesses and survivors of the U.S. attacks. With this new piece, Nick Turse also publishes transcripts of Kissinger's phone calls that show his key role in Cambodia and CIA records connecting Kissinger's actions to the growth of Cambodia's Khmer Rouge, the regime that massacred 2 million people from 1975 to 1979. Nick Turse is a contributing writer for The Intercept. His books include Kill Anything That Moves, The Real American War in Vietnam. His new story is headlined Blood on His Hands, Survivors of Kissinger's Secret War in Cambodia Reveal Unreported Mass Killings. Nick Turse, welcome back to Democracy Now! Why don't you lay out the scope of your investigation and its motive?
I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg. We're having that same kind of mass killing here in the United States with the sale of the AR-15. Let's see. Hey, two man, why don't you give me a call? I'm looking for your phone number. I can't seem to find it. Let's see. Nope. Here he is. Hey, handsome.
Hey, handsome, how you doing?
Oh, pretty good. Say hi to the neighbors.
Hi, neighbors.
So, today is the 1 year anniversary of the shooting in Texas.
Oh, yeah?
So, have any mass killing in your neighborhood?
Well, we had the Oxford school shooting where basically, the kid was had lose her parents and he got a hold of their gun and killed like 4 kids or something and injured like 12. This was about I'd say a year and a half ago. And yeah, so I mean it happens, and you would think you would think like the schools could actually lock the doors.
Right.
That would be step one, and have cameras on every angle. But they're not smart enough to do that. So
Well, they do. They just don't look at the screens.
right, they should have an alert.
Right.
Like hey.
And they also
Like
have, in Vail, the place in Texas, the 1 year celebration that happened today. The police were on site within 3 minutes of the first shooting of that guy, right? And he didn't just go ballistic on killing everyone. He did it kind of very methodically, slowly, right? 77 minutes. And once they got there and they heard that first shot, they realized he had an AR-15. And they realized that whoever the first through the door was probably going to get shot. And they knew what an AR-15 could do to the human body, right? And so that's why it took them 77 minutes. They were over, within 10 minutes, there were over 100 policemen there. And none of them took responsibility. And then the parents showed up and realized what it was. And they were going to go in and get their kids. And the cops stopped them, put them on the ground, and tie wrapped their hands behind their backs. And let the parents listen with their face in the dirt as their children were getting shot. And they haven't, the court has declared it against the court to let out the post-mortem photos because the 19 children who were shot by that AR-15 lost, their bodies exploded and their hearts were on the other side of the room and their heads were out in the basketball stadium. And the blood was everywhere from those children because they were small, right? They were not big people and they didn't have body army. And they were just, and methodically, not like blah, 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 blah. He just, went from room to room, killing a few here, wounding a few there, going to the next, and the cops did not come in. It wasn't until the border police showed up, whose kid in there, and they had guns, they kicked the door down and shot the kid. Right? Within 4 minutes of them showing up, they stopped it. But the other police who were in charge that were there, the 100 police, were the police for the school system.
Wow.
And they did nothing.
Well, that just shows you, that people are not willing to sacrifice themselves. I mean, not saying
And
this
it's
in a bad
their
way,
job. They took an oath to do that.
They took an oath, exactly. And you know what? Have some dignity and have some compassion for your brothers and sisters on this earth. Like, they're younger, they don't have the ability to help themselves, or I'm sure those kids would have.
Yes, they tried, but and the two teachers who got shot tried to protect them. And those were just the 21 were just the ones who died. There were another 100 or so that were mortally wounded. Not died, but they're changed for life, and all those kids are changed for life.
Yeah, they're going to be. Yeah.
And what's interesting is that because that school was close to the border, every time a group of Mexicans was like running from the police and got near that town, they would lock the school down. So the school was having a lockdown at least 5 or 6 times a month. And so when this one happened, they thought they didn't take it until they started hearing the gunshots. They just thought it was another, situation. So it's obviously this is you can deal with this. There is a way to deal with this, right?
Yeah.
If you want to sell AR-15s, fine. Make sure the person who buys it is someone who's older than 21, right? And if you buy an AR-15, you have to be seriously licensed, registered, right? You want to buy a gun, you want to buy a shotgun, you want to buy a 30-06, not a problem. Just go buy it at Walmart. But AR-15, no, that is a different kind of weapon. And the other thing is bullets, meaning guns don't kill people, bullets do. So if you say, okay, you can have your AR-15, you want to go shoot a deer with your AR-15, if you cannot kill that deer with 10 bullets, then you shouldn't have it.
Yeah.
So
I know, man. I know. And let's just start with a deep mental background.
Right. But the person who buys one of those weapons should be any automatic weapon. You should be licensed. Other guns, a revolver, like I said, a shotgun, 30-06. No, that's you can buy that at Walmart, but the rest of it, no, right? And that right off the bat. And then the second thing, when I grew up, one of my best friends, both his parents came from two different sides of the NRA. So their great grandfathers were people who started the NRA. And so those people knew, and it wasn't about the Second Amendment. The NRA was started by the Defense Department because when the Civil War occurred, one reason why so many Northerners died more than Southerners knew how to shoot a gun. Northerners didn't. Northerners lived in factory towns and never really shot a gun. So the NRA was there to teach people to have a certain level of gun confidence, right? Not the second.
Yes.
And the Second Amendment was written in the Constitution to protect slave owners. When you read it, to have a well-ordered militia. And what the militia was to keep the black people in line.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't to protect your house from the marauding herds. There were no marauding. Well, the white people were the marauding herds,
Yeah, right.
So, and this isn't like cancel culture. This is what happened,
Yeah, this is what happened.
Right.
Because they'll show you the full thing. And I really think they should up the age to maybe 25 because
Right.
I know a lot of guys when I was 21, 22, usually until about 25. A lot of these dudes are going through struggles because you don't know what you are when you're 21. You don't know who you are when you're 20.
Right.
So even 25 would be a good age, in my opinion, to say, all right, you can't, you can buy a shotgun, you can
Right.
buy a blah, blah, blah.
But you can't have an AR-15.
You don't need
You
an
can't have a Glock. You can't have an automatic weapon, period.
Yeah, you can have a shotgun.
30-06,
you know what?
a revolver, but not an automatic weapon. No automatic weapon. Nothing that you can just keep filling clicks into your weapon,
Yeah, like I took a CPL class, right, when I was 21.
Mm-hmm.
I could carry my gun on me. So I learned a lot of valuable lessons that I would have never learned if I didn't take that class.
Right.
Like if you're in a gas station and you have your gun on you and it's being robbed,
right.
You don't go shooting the guy. You get on the ground, you put your hands up,
right.
and you just avoid any use of that weapon.
Right.
And but a lot of these people are fatherless kids in Detroit that are they weren't raised right. They only have one parent, or they don't have any parents.
Yeah, and when it's
like
and it's not just kids shooting stuff up. Look at that old guy who shot that black young lad when it was like during the day he was lost. He was looking to pick up his brother. He was in he just came back from college.
Oh yeah.
And he just went to the wrong door, and the guy shot him before opening the door. He didn't talk to him, didn't say, he just looked at the window.
He just shot through the door, yeah.
It just shot and killed the guy without even talking to him.
Yeah.
And he said he was scared.
Oh, God, man, these people are...
To my mind, this is all being, orchestrated to cause maximum conflict between the public.
Yeah, because think about this too, Bob. Why hasn't obviously we've had shootings since the beginning of time, basically,
Well, killing.
But this is the thing, though. You're right when you say that, because why is it right when we have social media being massively introduced to the masses and conflict of the left and the right paradigm constantly being talked about? I hate these Democrats. I hate these Republicans. Yeah. Why is it then, when we're so polarized, that these mass shootings happen? it's got to be orchestrated at
Right.
some type of level.
And there are so many people who are in a stressed out situation that they're primed to do it. You just give them a little nudge and they'll, like, video games. Half the kids who do this spend half their life down in the basement.
Exactly. Like I used to play those video games in high school.
And the weapon of choice is a automatic rifle, a long rifle, right?
Yeah.
And the position that the player is in is your view is from behind. The gun is in your hand, and you're seeing the gun pointed out into the world, and you're killing as many people as you can.
Right. Exactly. And a lot of people are still addicted to video games that are older than me.
Yeah, right.
And it's sad. This guy's like at work, I'll talk to some of the guys that I work with. Good people. But I'm like, hey, what are you doing this weekend or whatever? Are you going to do anything? Oh, just,
Stay home.
hang out with my wife. And then right when she goes to bed, I'm hopping on that Xbox or PlayStation. I'm like, wow. I mean, I get it. It's entertainment. It's okay. But dude, you're 40 years old.
Well, it's not entertainment. What it is basically addiction.
It's addiction. Yeah, they play every day, no matter what.
It's not entertainment. You're not entertainment. Is you're following characters. You're seeing situations. You are those things have those, but they are so limited and no empathy. You just have release.
Exactly. You're pulling that trigger in that game because you're not going to be responsible, and it's going to get rid of that built up, tension
Rage and anger that you have from dealing with all, making you feel like you're non-existent.
Yeah, and I get it, man. We're going through a rough time right now, right, as a collective in this world.
I mean, we are. The things that's different than any other time because, when, between 1492 and 1792, basically, everyone was a slave. There were rich people and slaves, and even the rich people were slaves to the king, right? That's why we had a revolution, right? And it's just for the rich people, right? And then they had to be king and control the masses. And so, no, there was never a good old times. There was never make America great again. It was never good.
Yeah, I mean, I know, but even just to say on a minute level, we're going through, dude, I have $48 to my name right now.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Literally $48. I got an account balance notice, and I didn't even touch my account in 2 weeks.
Well, what happens when America defaults and everyone's account balance goes to negative $300,000?
Right.
Negative.
Exactly.
Oh, you owe us $300,000 because you're an American citizen. You now have to pay off the American debt.
Oh my God! People won't handle it. There'll be a civil war at that point.
No, there won't be civil war because what will happen is Elon and the internet will go down. That will be the last thing that the internet tells the public is that they will get one of those kind of tornado alerts, and it'll say you owe Mr. Global owning $300,000, and you can't buy any food. We're coming to throw you out of your house, and oh, by the way, your car doesn't work because there's this little software glitch in there that was tied to the debt, and now you can't drive your car, and then it'll go off, right? And everyone will and then the electricity will go off, so they can't get around, they can't see at night, they can't. Everything in the refrigerator rots, and so they will be like, oh my God. And right then their phone, they'll get a little Easter bunny will appear on their cell phone. It goes, Elon Musk is saving the day. He's going to buy up all the debt and have a new centralized digital banking currency, and your face is your money. Don't worry. Just
Right.
go into the store and you can get whatever you want. And your car, you won't have a car anymore because all you have to do is think that you want to go someplace, and Uber will show up and take you there. And your house, you don't have to pay any bills. It just live in it. You know, it's not
Yeah.
yours, but just live in it, just like you were living in it before. And then when
Right.
you don't do the right thing, you hit that little button on your cell phone, and your cell phone is dead.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. It's all about control.
You go to walk in your house, and before this all happened, you put that nice little security system that you got at Walmart for $12 that has a digital lock that opens when you get to the front door. Well, you go to get in your house, and that digital lock doesn't open. You can't get in your house. And if you go to break a window to get in, little did you know that those new aluminum siding that you had put on before the collapse actually is energized. So when you are trying to jimmy open that window, you get electrocuted.
Right. Yeah. No, seriously though, like, I could see that happening. I mean, the
No,
power
it's not
grid shouldn't
happening.
be like you
It's
said.
already happened. It's done deal.
It's a done deal. They already said by July,
Mm-hmm.
CBDCs is actually going to be in effect, like in action.
But that's only if people go along with it. Meaning,
Right.
if they go, I don't really need all this shit. I got plenty of shit in this house. I'm ripping that lock out of the door, ripping the meter off the side of my house and cutting the wires, and I'm just going to live in this place.
Yeah.
And if everyone did that, they don't have enough police to come to arrest everyone.
No, because the police. I know the police officers. They would be on our side. They wouldn't,
exactly.
you know. And you know what? You're right. And it's going to be our decision. Like you always say, we're the deciders, right?
Yeah.
And that's going to be the tipping point of, are we going to decide to go along with this for forever, or is this going to be it?
And they will make it look so convenient, so nice. We will, just like a snap of the fingers, we will be in the Star Trek world. You know, you look at the Star Trek TV show, the movies, everyone lives in a nice place. Everyone has groovy clothes. Everyone has a job that seemingly they like, and they get along with everybody, right? But if you dig deeper on it, you realize that Jim Kirk doesn't live in that nice apartment. You know, he just got to throw a few decorations around it. It's really owned by Starfleet. You know.
Yeah, it's not his.
Right, it's not his. No one has a car. You know.
It's like at my work, they started giving us groceries half off.
Right.
You know, because I work at Kroger, the automated facility, and right away they had a problem. Oh, Ocado, even though we have 6 employees per shift, literally, that's it. Ocado's coming and taking too many groceries, even though they have like 70 people. It's like, what are you talking about, dude? I got like 2 bags of groceries just so I could like save some money and bring them home. Not being when you work for a corporate structure.
And the stuff that you wouldn't take away, they will throw away 100,000 tons more of it.
Bob, they were throwing away. I'm not even kidding. Like huge. You know what a gondola is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a big plastic thing on wheels.
Yeah.
They were throwing away huge, like 10 gondolas of food per night because they couldn't donate it and write it off as a tax write-off because they already did too much.
Right.
So finally, I talked to this Kroger lady. I'm like, why are you guys throwing all this food? I'm like, there's so many people here that can barely afford to go buy groceries for their kids. And, you know, a majority of who I work with come from the Black community, right? And, you know, a lot of, you know how it is. They're suppressed in society in a lot of the areas they live in, like you said. And finally, so after talking about it with her, she was pissed off. She's like, I'm going to talk to the manager, blah, blah, blah. she got it now to where they do sell groceries, and we get more than half off on the groceries that are about to expire.
Right.
Who cares? I mean, you can throw it in the freezer or whatever.
Right.
It's not gonna.
Right.
So that's it, though. It's just a constant battle. They're never, they're never gonna give you what you want. You're always gonna have to argue with them. You're not gonna have the freedom you want. It's just
Because
blatant
freedom
in
is
your
unless
face.
you make the decision. Like me, I'm out there in the woods, and so I have no real refrigeration, and so I'm it's almost so I've been reading the Bible a lot, and when you read, when before Adam and Eve ate from the truth tree, they were hanging out with the animals and were naked and no problems. Basically, everyone in the Garden of Eden were vegetarians. No one ate meat. There was no killing. The lions didn't kill the zebras. They were hanging out with them. So everybody was a vegetarian.
Yeah, and you know what? I just read the Bible a little, and I think in the commandments it says, "Do not eat blood."
Right.
Anything that comes from blood, you shouldn't be eating.
Right. Right.
So to all the Christians out there that have their steak in the morning.
Well, and they don't realize that the Christians are basically pagan.
Right. They follow all the pagan rituals
Right.
that come from the pagans, and pretty much act like
And
pagans.
when you get the word F-U-C-K, right? That's fornicate under church, right? And
Yeah.
fornication doesn't mean sex. It means stepping away and disconnecting from God's love. That's what fornication is.
Right. Separating. Yeah.
Separation, right? So, that's where we're at, and everyone is so disconnected they can't see what's right in front of their face. But it's coming, and that's what's going to come again. And we've had this position many a time when you have to decide what you're going to do, and in the Bible they talk. Jesus even taught. What's Caesar's is Caesar's, what's God's God's, and many of the prophets talk about. I live in this world. I'm not part of it. And so even if you were to go along with their, go into the supermarket and let your face be your credit card, because you're already doing that with your credit card.
Right.
It's not like as long as you are still connected to God's love and Jesus's forgiveness, if that's how you walk your life, then there is no, separation or disconnection. It's that. So it doesn't matter whether you go along with a system or not. That's neither here nor there. That's the world of man. The thing is what you do with it, right?
Yeah, that's what you do with it, right? Exactly.
Well, Scott,
Yeah, I know.
I'm about to run out of battery here, and I never like letting my laptop die in the mid of the show. So
Okay.
I'm going to first get out of the show, and we can still talk a little bit. I got someplace else to go. So, okay, Ken. Oh, look at this. 59 minutes and 59 seconds.
Oh, wow.
Good place to say, all right. A little cash. Remember, throw something into PayPal. That's dudewake42@gmail. Dudewake42@gmail. Bye.